ambassadors. We have Rajat and we also have Carrie. And they're going to show you their dot cards, kind of how they came to pick the colors on their dot cards and what makes them special. And I think the really neat thing is each artist has a different perspective. I think last time I counted, there was 28 artists that used teal blue on their dot cards. And I would probably think that 28 of them have a different reason of why it's on there. So that's, I find always the most interesting thing to hear. And with that, I want to thank both Rajat and Carrie for being here today and teaching us. So
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome. Which of you would like to go first?
Rajat, you want to go ahead? I have repair people drilling, so I'll let you go first.
Okay, of course. Hi, everybody.
Hello,
thank you, John, for giving this opportunity. Let me go back. It's like, I think 2018, when John and Catherine offered me this dot card, I was so excited. So they told me that we are going to make dot cards of yours. So choosing a dot card colors is like a choosing, for me, I mean, of course, the thing which I'm saying, it's like choosing a career. So your dot card, at least my dot card represents me. You know, these colors represent me as well as represent India. So this is very, very particular. Of course, there was a mistake. On that time, I didn't realize that lunar black, which is left. So if you see that, you know, that is been added extra by me only. Otherwise, my dot cards has got maximum number of what do you call chromatic colors. So yeah. 15 shades of chromatics, and there are 5 of them are for normal. And I love chromatic colors because the energy, the vibrancy of this particular colors which I found on this, like and earlier I used to make all landscapes. And as far as India is concerned, like, you know, the earthy colors I was looking for. And that is the reason I've chosen these 21 colors of mine. Of course, as I said, I have added the lunar black. So I'll just show you the painting which has been done with that. First, I'll just show you the painting which has been done and with a lunar black, which I did it. These are all absolutely monochrome. This is a lunar black. So lunar black it's a wonderful, wonderful color. And I always try to make a series of a painting. I don't make one painting. So this is, and I do multiple series. So this is an animal series which I did. These are all this thing with a lunar black.
Wow.
So, excellent.
Those are beautiful.
Thank you. So
Tiger is beautiful, Rajat.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Richard,
wow.
Excuse me. The last picture, how much layers you make on the black
the black background around 13 to 14 layers.
Wow.
14 layers.
1/4. Yeah, 1/4.
Wow.
That's right.
Lunar black.
You heard
Is that
me.
lunar black?
It's a lunar, only one color.
It's
That's
lunar
it.
black.
Wow.
Only my signature is in vermilion red. Otherwise, rest of the painting is lunar black.
Beautiful.
So this is a series which I did with only lunar black shades.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Wow.
So, this is a wonderful, wonderful shade, Daniel Smith shade. This is
amazing. Jeez.
Oh.
So this is a set of 18 paintings which I did with only the lunar black. So I don't know why I left this color on my dot card. Well, that's how we grow gradually. Although see earlier these are the 21 colors which have been chosen, but it is not that I didn't restrict it by these colors. Ever since I got to know the DS has come out with 266 shades of color, so I started doing, there are many bird series which I did, where I have used all the shades of DS colors. So this is another thing. While I'll just show you few of my another painting, because you will get to see, because these are the shades you will get to find on my dot cards. So,
Rajat, do you have any particular color? Like one of your favorites is Lunar Black, but what about
yes,
the other Primatex? Which would you say, or two or three of the Primatex would be your favorites?
one is Lapis Lazuli is there, certainly. Mayan Blue is there, genuine, Mayan Blue, genuine. Then Moon Glow is there. Certainly, Payne's Gray is not coming under the Primatic color, but Payne's Gray is also there. Then Cobalt Teal Blue, so of course, that is very important color for me, which I use. Like, these are the few, I'm just, so this is something. And another thing which, like these are the painting, yellow ochre, burnt umber, like, the Sedona genuine, hematite, burnt umber. So these colors have been used here. This is a recent.
Wow, that looks so real.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Thank you.
Great, Rajat.
Thank you.
You're a master. You're a master, Rajat.
I try because I love to do textural work. This work you must have seen recently. I just did it.
Yes.
This is
that.
yes.
Beautiful.
Even for this,
Wow, beautiful.
even here, more than around 18 to 20 layers of Lunar Black is the black background which I've used here.
How long did it take you to do that one?
Well,
How long did it take you to do that, Rajat?
Yeah, that's a good question. Around, I think this work I have completed within, I think 6 days is two.
6 days?
That's right. It's a half imperial sized work.
Have you used any of the metallic colors on the gold area?
No.
No.
No. That was the challenge. I did it for myself, like without using the gold color, how if I could manage to get that essence of the goldness.
Mm.
And the white,
yes.
And the white is the paper white?
These are paper white.
Yes, and on the lips?
Yeah, these are all paper white, because I don't use masking fluid at all.
Mm-hmm.
I never use.
Oh, that's amazing, Rajat.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, her facial, the detail on her nose, and
can you show that again? Yeah.
it is
okay.
just
It's
that
awesome.
it's breathtaking. The textures and the curvature of her mask, her ornamental on her face. Oh, gosh.
And the depth in her eyes over there.
Thank you,
That's
dear.
amazing.
It's
Thank you,
amazing. Your work is all beautiful, Rajat, but I'm just, my mouth is like hanging on the floor right now. So beautiful.
Mine too. Mine too.
Thank you.
You show the
Thank you,
true
dear.
diversity of watercolor in your work.
Yes.
So
I
these are
could just stare at that all day.
I know.
Rajat, sorry, but for the Lunar Black, use the sticks, tube, or half pants for the many.
Here, no, this is of course I have used tube color.
Tube. Okay.
Yeah.
And they use
Couple
the
of layers.
techniques with the point brush or with flat brush.
No. This
Okay.
is a Dartana spin brush which I've used.
Wow.
And as I said, my painting requires or not, I always use Lunar Black.
Lunar Black. Okay.
So Lunar Black is always, there's a, the bowl full of Lunar Black will be there with me. So if my subject requires or not, doesn't make difference, but I do use Lunar Black.
Did you do
Okay.
your background first, Rajat, on that, or no?
Come again, please.
Did you do the background on the mask first, or no?
No, the background, I did it in the later part. I
Okay,
first did it in this area, then the background. Yeah.
okay, thank
And
you.
even for this area. You're most welcome.
Okay, okay.
Rajat,
So
did you
if you
use sticks as well this time?
Yeah, yeah. I
Everything
did
done
use.
with the watercolor sticks?
It is because in the background I have used tube colors, but these areas I have done with the sticks. These are sticks. As you know that most of my paintings are done with the sticks only. Although I do use tubes, but I can't resist not using sticks.
You're addicted.
I am
Rajat,
addicted.
just one question. The yellow.
Please. Yeah.
Which mix is that?
This is permanent orange is there, lemon yellow is there, and Sedona genuine is there, light.
Okay.
Right. So these are the few works which I wanted to show you so that you'll have an idea, because it represents me. And while looking for my, this dot cards painting, so I managed to find one of my first bird painting, which I did. This is in 1974, which I did it. Okay, 1974. So from there, I came to here.
Wow.
Wow.
So this is 2022. And that painting was one of my first bird painting in 1974.
Wow.
So like that way. So I
Good
thought
progress.
I must share this thing, must share with you. So like.
That's great.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Can you show the painting? The
Ooh, I
bread-
like that.
Please come again.
bread-
I
the
love
bread-
that.
The
slice-
bird?
No, the
The
slice
leaf is
bread.
beautiful.
The leaf. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, this is a leaf.
The light.
Yes, yes. And the way it's turned, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
So.
But this is done with Primatex, right?
Primatic. Yeah. Primatic.
Which ones? Do you know? Do you remember?
This is a lapis lazuli mostly. That's the predominantly have used lapis lazuli colors over here. Genuine, yeah.
Nice.
These. If you see that this is my dot card reflects mostly these colors, and this is India. Like for me, if you ask me, I will say that India. I look like that way only. The shades like this.
I'll remember that one.
It's amazing.
I
This
know,
roof.
huh?
Thank you.
Colors.
Nice.
This is a big one, yeah?
Yeah.
You can almost feel the texture of the roughness of the fabric.
Yes. Yes. The jute.
Yeah, the jute.
Absolutely.
The coarseness of it. Nice.
Exactly. Even I'm fond of textures, as I said, that wood, the stone, like here also, all primatic colors been used. This was there with me in Fabriano.
That looks so real.
Thank you. So, John, how much time do we have?
About 15 minutes.
Okay. So let me just doodle something with this, like. I don't know how much, because here it is, the temperature is extremely hot. See, now I'm putting colors, water, and it's getting dried immediately.
Wow.
Is the climate very humid where you are, Rajat? Rajat?
Come again, please.
Is it very humid? It is hot, you stated, so it's drying
No,
fast.
it's not humid. It's a dry hot. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Just like that. So these colors are, I mean, as I said, I simply freaked out with these colors only. I mean, like, I'm so obsessed with climatic series of.
Why do you like Primatech so much?
The density, the pigment, the texture of the colors, that made me, very much attracted by this particular category, climatic.
Because are you very fond of granulation?
I do, of course, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Rajat, can you tell us the names of your colors?
Deposit genuine, the green color which I'm using now, and that is lapis lazuli. This is lapis lazuli, and this is Mayan blue genuine, Payne's gray, red jasper genuine, permanent orange, moon glow, kyanite genuine, zoe site genuine. Just a second. By the time I'll read out the name.
You cannot waste a moment because you turn your head and it's dry, isn't it?
It will automatically getting dried. Like, I like granulation, but not every time, not everywhere. But some places, of course, I do require granulation.
Bloodstone genuine is my favorite too, Rajat.
Bloodstone?
Thank you.
Yeah, bloodstone.
Yes.
It's a lovely, lovely color.
Lovely colors.
Rajat, would you like to speak
Yes.
again, please? I think your volume just dropped, as in very lowly. Try speaking again, please.
Please, am I audible now?
Yeah, this is good. It's back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Right.
The colors are also listed in our chat as well as on Facebook comments section. We've also included a direct link to Rajat's card from our website for you to download a copy of his card.
Given a chance, my card should be present. Card should be 266 colors card, because now presently I'm working on all the colors. So this is the time when I used to do landscape mostly. Predominantly, I was working with a landscape. So you can see how beautifully, how it's unmatchable. I mean, I don't think, look at this. I mean, if you see that, how the volume comes and all these things. So this is how the thing happened with me. I mean, I'm so upset.
Rajat, we have a comment by Chuck. He says the
Yeah.
paintings are amazing, but the diversity and variety of subjects is also amazing.
Oh, thank you. Because I don't, I'm not a hyper finishing artist. So like all my brothers, friends are there. Because from my painting, if you see my painting, you will understand it's a painted. Because there are some people, they do hyper finish job. You can't even make out whether it's a painting or a photograph. So
Rajat, we would love to see, could you bring the painting nearer to the camera for a moment, please?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Now look at this.
That granulation.
That's such
Just
lovely
wonderful.
granulation. Yes, it's unparalleled.
But
Rajat,
are you
we
painting
have
something abstract or does it represent something, or just it's an abstract thing?
No, this is just an abstract thing which I'm making, which is slowly turning into it's a landscape, abstract landscape sort of thing, which I'm trying to.
on Facebook, we have a really good question from Jose Leon asking, can air conditioner aid in the watercolor process when it's very hot, or will it work against it?
At least it helps me to continue painting. That much I can tell you. As far as the painting goes and not otherwise, in this sort of temperature, without AC, it will be difficult for me because it's, I don't know. I mean, like it doesn't destroy the painting, of course.
So doesn't it give you an extra, doesn't it dry it more than without the AC? But without the AC, you die. The painter, the hand that has to paint dies. So in any case, it's good for the painting, no?
Yeah.
To some extent, you're right. So it's.
Wow.
And Nadine explains that there where she lives in Arizona, it's really hot, and she makes sure the AC is not blowing anywhere near her painting area. So for her, the AC is not good. For you, it doesn't matter if the air conditioning blows in the direction of your painting. That's not a problem.
Not a problem for me. It doesn't. No, certainly it is not a problem.
It doesn't change what you.
No, certainly not.
Okay.
Because in this sort of, I don't know, like I never been to Arizona. The way she is facing, it must be an extreme. But here, without the AC, I don't think we'll be able to sit for 5 minutes also.
Right.
So
right.
yeah. So by the time.
I can explain a little bit more. This is Nadine. I posted the comments. I have central AC in my home. It's currently, I think it's 43 outside Celsius or something like that. We're expecting 108 this week in Fahrenheit for Americans. So we need AC in the house. Otherwise, I'd be laying flat out somewhere looking for ice or cooling or begging for a pool. So AC is good, but it cannot blow where I'm working. If it blows near my palette will dry. If it blows near my art piece, my paper, that will dry faster as well. So I keep a nice climate in the house. It does get a little bit drier, but it allows me to paint. So AC is good. Just don't have a fan blowing on it, or make sure the trap on the ceiling, like me, is aiming away.
Right.
That's how I make it work.
Thank you so much for
I
explaining.
know where Rajat is in India right now. It has been 124 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yikes.
It's ridiculous. So it got up
That's why he
to
needs the
50.
air. That's why he needs
It
the
was
air
like,
blowing on him.
how hot did it get, Rajat? Celsius. How hot has it been?
So today it is 48 degrees Celsius. So
But the other day it was 54, I remember.
Yeah, which is like 120
that's right.
something. It's crazy.
That's the first time in history it happened. Like, we are not in a desert. Like in Middle East, that's in desert. So
right.
there the temperature goes above 50 is one can think about. But in city like India, it's like, a space. City like Delhi over here, this temperature it's like a absolutely painful situation.
Wow.
In fact, that was the time I made that mask, in fact, because none of us could step out anywhere. We were at home only. Right.
Be safe. You got to be safe in that heat.
Does the type of paper make any difference? Does the type of paper make any difference, cotton versus wood pulp, as far as holding the water?
No, not really. But I couldn't find that.
Thank you.
What's your favorite paper you use, Rajat?
These are handmade papers which I'm using. Indian handmade papers. And of course, these are 100% cotton and acid-free paper, which I'm using. And these are cold press too.
Cold press, okay.
So like that way. So I just did a doodle with my own dot cards, and
Nice
this is the So this is the color, in fact, which is left out, which is Lunar Black, which have been added. All my dot cards, you will get to see. So all card has got one tiny black dot. This is Lunar Black.
Rajat,
yes.
The yellow that you have in the middle, the beautiful light, what color is yellow?
This is permanent orange.
Permanent orange.
Okay, very light, just a lot of water, right?
Exactly.
And can I see moon glow at the bottom of the trees?
It is like, of course. Moon glow was like, I was using there.
Or maybe it wasn't moon glow.
No, it was not moon glow, but it was moon glow is this. I didn't use that, but here it is. Yeah.
Could you bring it again near the camera?
Yeah, sure. Just a second.
Very nice doodle.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And
on Facebook, we're having a lot of questions about your handmade paper, and where can other people source this Indian handmade paper from?
It's highly available over here and these are all. I should not say we can compete with the Ash or any other, but these papers are pretty cool. It's something like if you are using Bahong, that's also fun. But these are blocks. Yes.
Is it khadi paper?
No, not khadi. It's not khadi.
Not khadi.
No, not khadi.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Rajat. Thank you very much. It's beautiful.
Beautiful,
Your
Rajat.
artwork is fantastic.
Yes.
It is
Most
your
welcome,
artwork is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you. So with that, thank you, Rajat. We're going to move over to Carrie.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome,
Hi,
Rajat.
Carrie.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajat.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Carrie.
Thanks, Rajat.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Happy to be here with you today. So I'm going to go over my dot card, and I did some swatches, and I'm just going to go color by color, and I'll show some examples and demo a little bit, time permitting. So I have, I'll just go row by row. The reason I chose most of these is when I went back, it's hard when you're asked to pick a certain number of colors. You really have to think about it. It's like picking children, right? So I went through my paintings and I was really looking at what I used in most of my paintings. And in the same thought process, because I teach a lot, I wanted to use colors that I thought my students would use a lot. So those were my thought processes. I'm a little bit different than Rajat. I don't like granulating very much. So a majority of mine are non-granulating. I do have some in here that are granulating, but and I try to stick, I have a mix of transparent and semi-transparent. I only have one opaque color. So we'll start with that opaque color, and that is my favorite yellow. And that is bismuth vanadate yellow. And that's this first stripe right over here. See how lemony and sunny that is? And I love this color because it's what I call a bully color because it's opaque. It can come in and take over. So to find a yellow that can spread out when I do paint like this, where sparkle and color.
Gorgeous.
So see right here where the yellow has like a flame has spread out. That is an example of what this opaque yellow can do. So you can have these these bright oranges and reds and still have that yellow come in and poof, flare out. So I call it a bully color because it can come in and take charge of a situation like that. So that's my bismuth vanadate. And then Aussie red gold is this next beautiful color right here. And I like it because I don't use a palette anymore. I do all of my color mixing on the paper, and I'm going to demo a little bit, so I'll explain that more. But I was starting to collect palettes, and I couldn't let go of the colors. So I like to use tube colors and then mix on the paper. So I want bright, pretty colors. So this is Aussie red gold. It is transparent. And there's Quin gold. I don't think there is a single painting that I have done that does not have quinacridone gold in it. So that one is definitely a favorite friend. Pyrrole orange is this next gorgeous orange color. And then pyrrole red. And I use these two pretty much all the time together. That was again, all the Aussie red gold, the pyrrole orange and the pyrrole red were all in these teapots down here, and then some deeper colors as well, but they work so well together. And I love glazing. I am always trying to find like that perfect red, and I find when you glaze with those, like let's say you do a layer of pyrrole red and then you glaze on top of the pyrrole orange, then all of a sudden you have this like really cherry red color, bright red. Here is opera pink. Another color that I love, I know we've talked about this a lot, that is a fugitive color, but as John has said in the past, the base of it is Quin magenta. So when you get rid of the fluorescent that's on top, you'll be left with Quin magenta. So I'm okay with that because I love this fluorescent pink, this opera pink. Bordeaux is this really, really yummy wine color here, and I use this as I'm deepening, like in those teapots when I showed you. The Bordeaux color comes in here to deepen these colors right in those teapots. So it's a lot of layering and building together to get those deep colors, and they all work so nicely. So that was another thing I was looking for when I was picking my dot cards, were colors that played well together. And that just comes with trial and error of using them, and so these play well together. So here's Carbazole Violet. This is this beautiful deep purple right here. And it's a semi-transparent. Bordeaux is semi-transparent. Opera is transparent. Pyrrole is semi. Both the pyrroles are semi. Quin is transparent. Aussie red gold is transparent. And like I said, the bismuth vanadate is my only opaque color. All right, so we're gonna look at the next. These are my cooler colors.
Carrie?
Yes.
Did you use any masking fluid on the teapot? Someone is asking.
Yes, I use a lot of masking fluid In a second, I'll show you, I have that one kind of in stages, so I can show you just how much masking fluid. But yes, I use masking fluid. To me, it's another art form all on its own. So I use it, it's a lot. And I apply it with a ruling pen. This is my ruling pen so that I can get it in really tiny little lines and thin application. But the more you use masking fluid, the better you get at it. It is a learning curve. So I'm gonna go back to my dot card and then I'll talk more about masking when I show you the step-by-step. So here is Wisteria, and that's just a really beautiful color. I use it a lot in my cooler paintings. It's just really pretty color. Sap green, and Wisteria is a semi-transparent. And then we have sap green. I just feel like that's the color everybody should have. It's transparent. This one is granulating, but that's okay, I'll forgive it. Undersea green right here, which is semi-transparent. Another great color, just it's a mixture. I'll say the wrong mix, but there's Quin Gold in it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful green, that mossy kind of green. And then phthalo yellow green is my bright, happy greens. So the phthalos are colors that I like, they bring the life to the party. And so the phthalo green, the phthalos, I have a few of them in here. I've switched to, for most of my greens and blues now, because they are not granulating and they add so much life to the party. Here's cobalt teal blue. We talked about this one. I think John said, what, 25 of the brand ambassadors have this on their card. So if you don't own cobalt teal blue, pick that one up for sure. Here is phthalo blue, and this one's funny because when I'm teaching, it's a mouthful. Phthalo blue red shade, and then there's phthalo green yellow shade. So there's a lot of that. So this one is phthalo blue red shade. There's also a phthalo blue green shade. I wish I could name them like Herman and George or something to make it easier. But so this is phthalo blue red shade, and I switched from ultramarine blue to the phthalo blue red shade because it was not granulating, and I didn't want granulation. When I paint a lot of glass and shadows, and I just didn't want the granulation. I wanted smooth washes. And then here is phthalo green yellow shade. Look how beautiful that is.
Pretty.
And then this one is my Payne's blue gray. This color, it's like my right hand. I use it all the time. It's in every painting, and it's great for glass. And Payne's gray is great as well, but I was mixing ultramarine blue in with my Payne's blue or Payne's gray, so this has it done for you. I use this all the time. It's like the perfect neutral, especially for glass and shiny objects. So this is a great color for that. And then my three darks, well, I'll show you. This is my indigo and my sepia, but my darkest dark that I mix is a mixture of these two to get my black. So I do a 50-50 mixture, and that's what this is right here in the middle is the indigo sepia mixture. And I use this for all my black backgrounds, and you get a nice flat wash. You know, I was trying to get rid of that shininess you can get with the pigment in some, you know, with a binder in some of the washes. And so with these two colors, I can do that. Also, you can warm it up or cool it down depending on your colors in your painting. So if you want to add a color to it, you know, like an alizarin crimson or a Quin magenta, you can warm it up, or you can cool it off by adding, you know, a cool color to that mix. But for the most part, I stick with that. And I do have that. I mix that up in this big tray. Because that way I can get my big brushes in there to do big, nice washes with that color. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Isn't that a butcher's tray?
Yes, yes. That's the only palette I have now. My only mixing surface is this guy. And that's because I can get those huge, isn't that nice? You can get those big brushes in there to really get in and get a nice wash if you want to do a big black background on a painting. So I'm going to show you a couple of paintings. Let's see, I'll start on this screen, but I'll have to have you switch over to, I have a couple bigger ones that I'll have to have you switch, put both my cameras up in a second. But I'll show you, I showed you this one already, but I'm going to show you this step by step with this one. So here is the finished painting. But I'm going to show you kind of the beginning stages of it. I just did this one for a demo in England not too long ago, so I still have it in stages. So all this blue up here is my masking fluid. Do you see how much I have on there? There's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm using that with this. I like to do a colored masking when I'm demonstrating or teaching students so you can see where it is, but it is a little distracting. So if I'm painting on my own, I like a clear masking. But so this is all my masking, and that's how I'm gonna get all those pretty sparkles in that painting. And then here is stage 2. So I've taken the masking off back here, you can see, and I've started to tone that down. So when you have masking and you take it off, you get those hard lines, right? So it's really nice to be able to come in, I'll get a little Quinn Gold, and you can just kind of go over some of those areas and soften that. And you can also get a brush and just kind of scrub out edges if you want to get rid of hard lines. But the more you mask, the better you get at it and the less cleanup I have to do. But it is an art form, like I said, in its own. It's like a blessing and a curse, but I use it more and more. The more I paint, the more I use it. So that's kind of our stage 2.
Carrie, I have
Yes.
a question.
Sure.
Which masking fluid do you prefer?
Well, I like a nice thin one. The Daniel Smith is a nice masking fluid. This one happens with Holbein because I wanted the blue tint in there for demonstration purposes. But with my ruling pen, I need a masking fluid that will be thin enough to dip and apply. Let's see if I have. So I can show you. So with this masking, with the ruling pen, I need to be able to dip in my ruling pen, and I'll just do a little masking here so you can kind of see some.
I think one time we've discussed this before, but I don't remember the details. Are we able to dilute masking fluid with a liquid? I feel like it was not water. Does anybody remember that?
I think John said as long as you don't dilute anything more than 10% of what's in there, but he can answer better if he heard the question.
I think that was the rule for watercolor ground, not for masking.
I think masking was different.
Yeah.
John, you're muted. We see John talking, but he's muted.
Masking fluid work very similar. It's about 10% because it's an acrylic itself.
Thank you.
Rubber.
You could put water in there, 10% water, is what he's saying?
You know, kind of like one time, but not 10%. Then, you know, a couple of weeks later, 10%. It's like once you do 10%, you're done.
Okay.
So I think the best with masking fluid is to put it in another little container, especially if you're doing a lot of it. So you kind of pour it in another container, and then that way you're keeping your lid closed longer so you don't get air in there, because the more air it hardens. So if you put it in another container, then you could add, you know, a drop, you know, a tenth of what you have poured out into that, and then you're not diluting your whole bottle at one time. That's what I would suggest, so that you can keep track of how much you have put in your bottle, you know. So anyway, and another tip I will say when you're masking a lot, especially we were talking about heat, right, in your studio. So if you have a hot area, make sure your painting is not hot, because this will stick. I would venture to say if it was 125 degrees that we would not get this off so easily, like Rajat's dealing with right now. And I know I had a friend who's studio in Florida, she left some in her studio because she only turned the air conditioner on when she was in it, and she couldn't get the masking off. So don't put it in a car, don't leave it in a studio that gets hot. So and then what I've started doing is, we all have great intentions of finishing a painting right away, but it doesn't always happen. So I try to do like a quarter of the page at a time, and then that way I can come in fresh masking and I don't have to worry about it sitting there for months, you know, if you don't get back to it.
Carrie, how do you, how do you make it so that you don't see the transition between what you do one day and the next?
The way I paint pretty much kind of cellularly, one piece at a time. So I kind of think of either an area or a section, like puzzle pieces. So I would make sure I mask this entire bottle, or these cups, you know, like one cup at a time. So I would make sure I mask a whole object at a time, but that's how I paint. If you paint differently, you'd have to revise that process. But for me, it works really nicely because I know I'm going to try to finish a teapot So I can, have that mask in one sitting. Does that make sense?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Carrie, there's a question about your paper. Sorry, Anna Marie. I think that might have been the question you were gonna ask.
You got it. Good job.
Yep.
I've been using Arch 156-pound cold press. So it's in between the 140 and the 300-pound. And then I just stretch it onto these corrugated plastic boards with artist tape, acid-free white artist tape. And that's another thing I always try to tell my students. I have a little painting that I'm going to try to demo for you. See how I have it stretched with the artist tape and it's on the whiteboard. And I try to always tell students, try to use the white tape because I feel like the green or the blue can throw you off with your colors. And I wanted to show you an example of the cool color.
Beautiful.
So we went from the warms in that other painting, and so now you can see, look at that. I can almost line up with the colors. The cool colors that are in my palette. And I tend to, in the winter time and I'm cold, I'll paint a warmer painting. In the summertime when I'm hot,
Psychological, huh?
Yeah. So it is like
gorgeous work.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Rajat needs to paint winter scenes right now.
This is a beautiful piece of communication.
But if you'll put my other camera on, I'll show you my bigger paintings. Let's see if we can. Do you have both screens? I can't. On mine, I only have one screen.
Can you, Edsel, can you show
can't see.
the other camera?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, hang on, sorry. View. Okay,
Wow.
there.
Beautiful.
That's fabulous.
Okay. Great, way to go.
This has all of the colors that are on my palette in it. And this was a painting I did. So in my work, I like to paint utilitarian objects that you don't think of in a beautiful way. And I try to give them a moment. And this was one of my COVID paintings because my response to COVID, what I could do was clean and keep the germs away. So this is called Ready for Battle. And
wow, beautiful.
Just wanted to get I got all those labels off and then took it out in the sun and set my still life up outside and had the coming through. And then this black back here is that indigo sepia mixture that I talked about. But who knew, pine fall could be so pretty.
This is beautiful.
That's beautiful.
Just reach in there and grab a bottle of cleaner. Wow.
Brilliant.
This is my newest painting that I just finished.
Which one is this, man? Okay.
And this,
wow.
Oh,
amazing.
Wow.
My goodness.
Gorgeous.
I love that background. I love your background too.
Carrie, that's a spectacular job.
Yes.
I painted this one recently, getting into those summer vibes. I called it Summer Cuties because of little cuties in there. And I was at my friend's house and she had cuties in a bowl and I had a glass of water in front of it. And her and I both have the same, we both lived in Japan, so we both have the same blue and white striped dishes. And those stripes, look at those stripes. I want to show you all the colors.
That's amazing.
And that's what I fall in love with glass, and especially with water in glass. Look at you see, and that with a play on all those, how they're
Carrie, how much time did it take to this particular?
A month.
A month?
About
How'd you do the background? Are those little dots? The background.
Yeah, so this is kind of a blurred, it's a bokeh, so like the out of focus blurred background. So I had trees and houses and things back there. So I wanted to dull that out, but make it pretty and dappled and kind of out of focus.
Nice. Very nice. Beautiful.
Love those reflections.
Beautiful.
What made you fall in love with the glass, Carrie?
The first time I ever painted it, it was actually, I didn't know what I wanted to paint yet. And I was listening to an art marketing and she suggested that we do a calendar. And in doing a calendar, you would create a mini body of work, 12 paintings that all went together in the same kind of collection because you want them to all have some kind of theme for a calendar theoretically. So I did a still life for that, and I fell in love with glass when you know, realizing it's like 1,000 abstract paintings that all come together like in puzzle pieces, and they make this realistic looking object. And so I fell in love with that, and then it just gets me so excited, you know, like in this painting, I mean, when the stripes are magnified and there's all these colors, that kind of stuff, that's what gets me excited. So, and makes me want to paint.
It shows.
Thank you.
You have been dubbed the goddess of glass.
Goddess of glass. I love it.
Yeah.
I've been called that before. I'll take it. How much time do we have? Couple. Okay. I just have a few minutes. So what I'll do is show you. I just want to show you like a glazing technique on this teapot down here, because I talked about those reds. No, my computer's not cooperating. I talked about those reds and oranges, and you'll have people ask you a lot, you know, how do you get like bright colors or vibrant colors? So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I paint, these are my little containers that I paint with, and I paint with pan paints. I put them all in these containers. I have the lids flipped open for all the colors that are in my palette. And I don't wet, I just wet them with the paint, you know, the brush right now. I don't spray them, and I don't use fresh paint every time.
Interesting.
Look like right out of the tube.
Right out of the tube, but I mix on the paper. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how I do that.
Paper first? Do you wet your paper first, Carrie?
No, it depends. I do a lot of kind of controlled wet on wets. So I'm going to show you right now. I start with a lighter color. So I'm going to start right now with our Pyro Orange. And I'm going to come in here for this T area. And I'm going to drop it a little too much. One thing that I will say is I'm not afraid to bring pigment to the party. So I will start with quite a bit of pigment. And my students are always like, it's okay, I promise. So I have Pyro Orange right here. So I'm dropping that in. I do normally try to start with a little lighter color. So this is going to get pretty red in here. So I'm starting with a lighter color, and I kind of map in a shape. So I'm dissecting this into a couple little shapes, like little puzzle pieces. And I'm going to start with this color here. And then I'm going to get a little of my opera pink. So here's what I'm talking about, where I mix. I let watercolor do its magic on the paper. So I'm going to get this opera pink, and I'm going to drop it in back here while it's wet. So this is kind of my controlled wet on wet. And do you see how nicely that orange and pink go together? Now I'm going to come in down here with my bismuth vanadate. We talked about that. That's the opaque lemony yellow color. And I'm going to throw it in down here. Look how it shoots out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really, yes.
Okay.
So then it's mixing down here, right? So now we have this mix going. Now I'm going to get some of my Pyro Red because I need to deepen it in the center. And so I'm going to come in, and I'm letting these three areas, they're going to kind of mingle together. And this is what I mean about mixing on the paper.
Okay.
And what happened was I ended up, because I had so many palettes, the reason I started streamlining my process, I was moving to Japan. And I got really panicky about not being able to take all of my paint and all of my products with me. And I just kept envisioning everything sinking in the ocean as it was being shipped overseas. And so that panicked me, and I wanted to have everything with me. And so that's when I started coming up with these little containers so that I could have them on the airplane and they're dry. So we're not dealing with wet paint.
Where did you find those little containers? They're cute.
I actually found those at a hardware store in Japan, but they are just like the pill containers, you know, like they're 7-day-a-week little pill containers. Amazon has them. They need to hinge at the back. That's the only thing. Some of them hinge at the front, but they're really cool because they do that, and they have those holes in the center. So I have a bungee cord. I have a little bungee cord I can't find it, and I put them all together like a necklace of paints. So they're in my backpack when I'm traveling all together. So if I had a TSA agent that wanted me to pull all that out, all together.
Clever, clever. Okay.
So how come you don't get any blooms?
I know, that's what I was gonna say too, no
A
bloom.
little bit, because I bring pigment to the party. So less water, more pigment. And I've kind of got my water to paint ratio figured out, right? And you were talking about the air conditioning versus non-air conditioning. I think humidity is probably more of an issue. So sometimes you have faster drying times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come in here with my business vanity. Now it's lead in there. I'll add some pink back in a minute. So I don't need a long drying time.
Because your paint is so thick, right?
Yeah, it's not, I won't say it's thick. I don't want to give the impression that I don't paint in a transparent fashion. It's just a little more pigment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never come in more, if you were going to think about it in like a dairy product analogy, I know it's normally the most I come in with is like a cream.
That speaks to your mastery, Carrie, because you're creating transparent objects with a thicker application of paint.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it sounds counterproductive, right?
That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm gonna get a little of that beautiful Aussie red gold. Drop it back in here. But you start to kind of know how long you have for drying time. That's why it's so important to try to get there and paint every day as much as you can. Because, when I have students, everyone wants to take the magic pill, right? To get exactly the effects they want or whatever, but it's just a lot of time in the studio, miles on the brush. And I also use synthetic brushes more now. They don't hold as much water and they're a little springier. And I like that because look at that. I love that.
I love, since you introduced us to this color, I'm in love with it. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
It is.
Daniel, John, you can never stop making that color, okay?
He must. And here, an interesting question. You are working from a still life reference photo or just your imagination?
No, I spend a lot of time photographing. So they're all my photographs. I do them outside in the bright sun. Unless I'm doing like that other one with the lights in the teapot. This one I would do I did like fairy lights and inside in the dark. So this one, with the exception of that, all my other ones are in the sun, outside. And then I photograph, and I spend a lot of time in the photograph process. And I will actually, kind of like when I was at my friend's house and I said I saw the orange, the cutie sitting there with those stripes, then oh my gosh, that's all I could think about. I couldn't wait to get home and set that up. And that required a trip to the dollar store to get some plain glasses because I didn't have plain glasses, and it required buying cuties and not having everybody eat them before I got them set up. That's a common problem in my house. I'll be like, no, that was for a still life. I have two teenage boys.
How much time do you take, Carrie, to finish one painting like this?
It depends on the painting. I teach a lot online, so I've gotten pretty quick at doing an 11 by 14. And by that, quick for me is like 9 hours to do an 11 by 14. And that's fast for me. So a big painting, when I'm taking my time, like that Summer Cuties, like I said, that was more like 4 weeks. And it all depends on how much time I actually get to have my rear end in the seat painting. But that's my opera pink I'm coming back in with. But see, I'm watching this as I'm painting and I'm babysitting, and I'm kind of seeing when I need to feed it and I'll feed these washes to keep that intense color. Let's come down here and I'll show you a little phthalo blue. This is the phthalo blue red shade. So I have this beautiful shadow of the teapot down here. I'm going to back away from my, I don't want to get blue in there. So I'm going to back away about 1/8 of an inch there so I can show you this without. So here's the handle of the teapot that we don't see the handle. It's back, we see the logos. But I wanted to show you this phthalo blue. How bright and pretty it is. But this is why I went to this phthalo blue. I used to use ultramarine blue a lot, but when you have these shadows in the glass, I didn't want granulation down here. So then I will just feed this. Now that I've mapped my shape in, I can feed it, drop a little bit of that pigment at the front and the back.
Hang on, Hobby Lobby.
And let's come in, I'm gonna get some of my opera pink.
Wow, a feast of color.
I know, right? Beautiful. Woohoo.
If you get too much water, you can soak it up with a thirsty brush. Add a little more pink. I don't want to lose my pink. And you know, if you have a warm subject, I like to have a cooler shadows. And normally your complement is in the shadow. We have a lot of oranges, we'll have blues in their shadow. And then if it's not blending the way I want to, I can come in and help it along.
Carrie, when you're photographing your still life, do you put colored water in your vessels, or do you rely on your own intuition when you paint to add the colors you want?
No, I'll actually color it. So I'm glad you asked that, because it's funny. Because if you put tea in a teapot, and I've tried, trust me, all the different teas and all the whatever, it comes out a little cloudy, a little murky. So I didn't want murky tea or water. I'm gonna come in with a little of my orange. So I ended up using food coloring. And so I'll do varying combos of food coloring to get the perfect tea shade. So I play a lot with that too, because I want, you know, the right color. I don't want it to be, I don't want cloudy tea. But I'll continue with the shadow. Time. Oh, I'm over my time. But anyway, this is a little demo just to show you mixing on the paper and all the bright colors. But so thank you today for letting me share my dot card. And I'm sure they mentioned it before, but all the dot cards are on the Daniel Smith website. So you can go in the resources tab and look up any brand ambassador, and their dot card will be there, and it'll have all of the colors listed as well.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rajat. Thank you, Carrie, for your time. And
you're very welcome.
I will miss you tomorrow. I'll be in the, just as we go on, I'll be in the air going to Taiwan. So I will see you from Asia, where Rajat tells me constantly it's going to be hot. So I'm looking forward to it.
So wear your short shorts.
Short shorts. Thank you all very much. Thanks for joining.
Happy travel.
Carrie, thank you, Rajat.
Thank you, Carrie.
Bye, all.
Thank you,
See you
Rajat.
tomorrow.